Alright, just finished having something to eat. And it looks like they've finished up out here. Bit more clearer. Hey, that'd be no good if I was staying around, wouldn't it? Hey, Babbers. Bet you'd always find another landing spot. Hey, little munchkins. Hopefully a couple of your houses went in there, I'm not quite sure. Could have been. But birds can come from far, it's quite easy. I'm way up the road now. I travel up around the road here. There's lots of trees up around here. And the birds come out, speak to me just like they do here. Muck around. But big difference now, eh? Hey, Graham. Remember when you said you got more money for your garden? Shit. Abubbas. Had the blower going earlier. It's like some of the plants are starting. We're having like a quick winter this year. It's fading away pretty. See, now, that's what I was talking about earlier. I'll put some of these along there. Like their vehicles a little bit better. So you can understand why they'll trim. Now when it comes to plants and that, there's only so much, like when you trim to the fence line like that, it won't take long. It's like trimming up with grass up to a borderline. Some people even poison a little bit further in. A lot of people like to poison, even though you can cut a little bit further in or have a bigger cement area as well, but some people poison further in. I've actually seen people around here pretty close that does a little bit of that, poisoning. Why do they do that? It's so you got a little bit of time before you have to come out and trim it again or have problems. And so when it comes to border fences, rules should be set in another way, as we can learn from our experiences later on. Definitely, if you want to go righteous about borderline fences and how they talk about you can cut up to the edge and that, but perhaps you can cut a foot in. Wouldn't hurt, would it? Definitely when it comes to dry sticks and all these kind of things, and they can become dry by cutting them and become like a fire hazard. Have you ever seen them with bushes? You cut them a lot and they just become as sticks of fire hazard, right? As they die off, they're not growing properly, right? And so plants should be more in. That way when they've got growing space and you don't have to trim them off so bad they just die off, right? As I like to talk about, definitely the last few years, as this is the direction I've decided to head in, is to not keep things to myself and talk about things a little bit more in certain areas. And so I've got to trim mine. Here's the last little bits that I've trimmed. A little bit of the bamboo that was hanging over and leaning up against the caravan. I videoed it all when I trimmed it. And dead bits, right? And cleaned it up as best I can. And years ago, and I've got some bamboo from way back, it grows underneath as it grows flat out. Right? And I dug them up, and that's a little bit of them there. See? So when you have that border gap, right? Perhaps a concrete on either side of properties, on a house standard, trying to make a house standard, could prevent that as bad, right? And even certain deepness down, right? But then there's only certain plants that like to dig down and come out, but there's a lot of them that do that, right? And if we have certain standards, right, and do certain steps, we'll save a lot of money later on. It's all about saving. So that bit of a concrete in that stand now would save someone paying for a guy to come and trim it, or their time and their self, right? And that's how we make a better life, by saving things of repeat, right? Or we can save a repeat area, right? But there you go. That's how it is now. Way up around here, as I talked about, as I trimmed along here, and see how it still hangs over a bit like this, as it's still too close, isn't it? And how much maintenance work you would need and all that kind of stuff. And so I cleaned up a little bit extra dead sticks along there that were all dead, to stop that big build-up of fire hazard. As you can see through it now. And it's not a big build-up. When it's a big build-up in green, it's all right. See how there's still some of them in here? Fire hazard. Dry it out. Right? And they also block the living plants from regrowing, as they talk about. As you can see through here, some are dead, some are green. Now I've got to trim mine soon, actually, along here. Now, I wouldn't mind certain things when it comes to growth, as I talk about trees and getting along with nature. But when it has, like this tree here, it's a paper tree, it drops all these fine things, and you've got drains, outdoor drains, it clogs them up very easy. Very fine leaves, you need a very fine filters, but then you've got to replace the filters more often than that when you go more finer, as it works. And so I trim along here, definitely do some dead bits. And so my plants along here can get a bit more light. They don't really get much light from the roof here and then the top here and then going across. It's not too bad if you've got yuccas and all that, but I just trim them off. I'll let them go for a little bit and then I'll do the same thing, trim them off at the edge. But it's harder when you get to a bigger tree, isn't it, when it comes to that tree. Right. But anyway, I thought I'd talk about trimmings and all that kind of stuff and how people do things. As people like to comment about that area, hopefully they're positive comments and not attack comments. Now check it out. Rose bush is starting off early. It's starting to regrow already. Hey Bubbas, chirp chirp. As I knew about the fence line thing, as I've got a video, might be on private at the moment because of the attacks I've been getting on the internet, and I decided to just shut everything down and come back to it later, right? As I've got other things and doing other things in life. And I showed me digging that up and talking about that when that used to be right up against the fence, that tree there, and I moved it forward. And I've got a story about these old paperback trees here that used to be here. They used to get really moist and wet, and they end up starting to like hang down. They'll hang in, they'll lean against the fence over here, and so they had to be removed. They'll get a tree mold unless you wanted to treat it and all that kind of stuff. I got housing to remove them many years ago. But if I knew what I knew now, I've looked up a little bit more. Perhaps I should have just got them trimmed and took a chance that they could be all right. But when it comes to, you know, problems again down the line, as I was just talking about, in some cases, you might as well just chop it. And it didn't really want to grow back at all. So more than likely, like with my teeth, when I had my teeth dying, because of CF and it's taking calcium from me when I'm sick, there was no stopping it. It was going to die eventually anyway. This one over here is a little better. I think it tried to shoot a little bit, that one, but yeah, that one was definitely going to die, and that was the one that was hanging over, and this one started doing the same thing, though. Paper trees. It used to be there. Anyway, have a good one. And these things here all shoot back soon. They died off a little bit because I moved them around, but they shoot back really quick, which I think they will start to do soon. Now their roots will dig in. They can look dead, but a lot of them will just start shooting off if the roots can store some energy in there. See, these ones haven't been touched, and how see they sort of die off still. And when I moved them, yeah, they didn't like that too much. But it looks like the roses are all starting to take off, and I'll take a safe time soon. I just emptied out the caravan the other day, changing the tyres, so I can put the wall-ins up and all the insulation and sort out a little bit in that area. As I don't need, it'll help when I go to move stuff, and might as well get some projects finished. So just stacking them all up in there and stuff like that. So that's all been pretty much emptied, except a few things in there. So there's no junk in there. And yeah, so I'll come out, trim off the roses, which are just here at the moment. Clean up a little bit. Looks like it needs a little bit of a bone on it. I know I've got to get the stands out the front there, TV stands. Anyway, enough of all that. Just thought I'd do a quick update about my thoughts. I put this on a playlist, a few of these. I put Fire Marshal up, so I was talking about a bit of funny in Fire Marshal. It's good to be a little funny when you can, because it's good to be in high vibes and have a smile. You don't want to overdo things. People start overdoing it to each other, and funny becomes nasty kind of thing. But it's good to have a bit of comedy in with some education and bring up some vibes. Hey Bubbas, hey, I'll bring out some bread soon. Yeah, should have bum. I was hoping I could move that tree, but I've had a lot of issues. And now I've got panels there, alright, because I talked about previous clips about a year or so ago that I wanted to move that tree forward to the end of the pathway. Perhaps I can still do it, but I'll have to move those panels again, dig it up, move it forward, so I save the gap there. Hey Bubbas, that's the last thing I do if I get time to do it, and do a video about it. Hey? Because I did it at the wrong time. If I do it this time, I want to do it just before summer, kind of, as nice weather. Last time I did it was the end of nice weather. It recovered, it took off, but if I do it in nice weather, it might not drop off so bad. No, I did it just before summer. Something I thought back on that. But I'll see if I do something different. Hey? You had to get them to hold. I think it was the pressure washer too, so when I get to the roots, instead of using the cutter, use just normal pressure on the water, so that little root, delicate roots don't get cut up. I think that might have been the issue when it comes to that. Hey? Because you should have just drooped a little bit and then recovered like most plants do and drop a little bit but not the whole lot. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad now. 6 later.